So, like always, appreciate everybody being here and being on and covering Penn State football. The people that traveled, we appreciate you guys traveling. First of all, like always, you got to give Indiana credit. They played well, and we didn't. Not a good combination, especially early on. And we did not play well in really 6 years at Penn State and 10 years of being a head football coach. We have not been a team to get penalties, and we have not been a team to get turnovers. And tonight we had both. We had 10 penalties for 100 yards, which is very uncharacteristic of us. And then we had 3 turnovers, and a lot of those turnovers were in the red zone too. So, a lot of different situations came up through this game, a lot of different plays. We finally got into a rhythm in the second half a little bit, but you can't not play well, on the road in the Big Ten against good opponents. And we didn't do that early on. So open up the questions.
As we mentioned in our email this morning, we will give preference to those who did travel to the game today. So with that being said, we will start with Mark Brennan, Fight on State.
Hi, James. Do you have me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, was Devin told before not to take that one into the end zone? How do you explain it to him? And then how bad do you feel for a kid who scores a touchdown, thinks he's done something well, and it ends up maybe costing you?
Yeah, I think the hard part here, Mark, is that there was a lot of plays throughout that game that we would have liked to have been different. And, I know in some ways probably people look at that one play, but there was a lot of plays throughout the game that that we should have done differently and could have handled better and could have made plays. So it's my job as the head coach to make sure everybody clearly understands those situations, and obviously right there that didn't happen.
And just a reminder, use the raise your hand feature. And again, I'll use preference to those who traveled and have their hand raised. So next we'll go to Audrey Snyder.
Hey, James, I'm wondering what you thought of Sean Clifford's performance tonight. Obviously, the 2 first-half interceptions. How do you think that went for him, his first go-around in this new offense?
Yeah, I didn't feel like we were comfortable on offense or in a rhythm in the first half. And I think, obviously, a lot of that, is the quarterback. It's just the nature of playing football and the nature of offensive football. But I thought he did settle down as the game went on. I also thought when he became a more aggressive runner, that's a big part of Sean's game. And I think, when he became a more aggressive runner, then other things fell into place for him.
Corey Geiger.
James, have you had a chance to see the replay on the 2-point conversion? And what do you think of that particular call?
Guys, I never get to see anything before I get to you guys. I look at the Jumbotron. That's the best look I get. I talk to the guys on the headset up in the booth to see what they saw. To me, from what I was told, it could have went either way. But if it's something that could have went either way, then it's inconclusive, and the play calls, and the stand calls, the call stands. But I haven't seen it. I literally come off the field. I talk to the team. I do Penn State radio, and then I come in to talk to you guys. I haven't seen any film.
Dave Jones.
Just to be clear, James, what do you think you guys should have done when you were up 21-20 with 147 or whatever was left there? I think it was 147.
You mean when we scored a touchdown?
Yeah. Would you have preferred not to score? Did you tell your guys not to score? Did you consider kneeling? They only had 1 timeout left.
Yeah. Again, I don't want to get into and I understand you got to ask the question, Dave. But we went through that situation this week. We went through that situation on the sideline. And obviously we could have handled it better, and I could have handled it better. But I don't want to make it about that one play, although I understand why you got to ask the question.
Yeah, I just want to know what you would have preferred to do in retrospect, or what you said at the time. I think
What we wanted to do is get as much as you can and get down.
okay.
That's that situation. We've covered it. We went through it during the game, but again, there was a bunch of situations that came up.
Ben Jones?
James, when you look at some of the mistakes you made and the hiccups that you'd like to have back, do you think that's a product of where you guys are as a team right now, or is that a little bit of playing a much better team in week one than maybe you would normally play in a different season?
Yeah, I think all those things factor in, but at the end of the day, Ben, we got to find a way to get it done. You're gonna open the season sometimes. With conference games, that'll happen in our future. You'll play some out of conference opponents as well. That are really good. So that will happen. But yeah, did that factor in here? Could you normally iron out a few bumps if you're in NFL in preseason? Could you iron out a few things? In out of conference games sometimes, yeah. But at the end of the day, this is who we were opening with, and we needed to be ready. And obviously, we weren't tonight based on turnovers and penalties.
Nate Bauer?
James, with 8 seconds, you took the field goal there with Jordan. Did you consider running another play before making that attempt?
Well, we ran the one play, which that one was a little bit of a concern too, because if you get a sack, or catch the ball inbounds, you're going to have a hard time, getting that last play run. So we felt like we would, take a shot, with a safe throw either to the sideline or throw it away, and then go for the field goal, which Stout felt like he could hit. But yeah, obviously that's the fine line. If you run another play and you're not able to clock it because you can't clock it under 3, then it could have ran out in that situation before having the field goal. So we thought, call a play, give us a chance to take a shot on the sideline. If it's there, hit it. If not, throw it out of bounds and take a shot at a 58-yard field goal with a little bit of wind.
Rich Scarcella?
James, I want to get back to the 2-point conversion. Did you happen to get an explanation from the officials? I don't know if that happens in that case. And secondly, can you describe how your defense played? Yeah,
at the end of the game, you don't get explanations. Once they make a decision, they run off the field. You're never going to get an explanation at the end of a game, especially with a controversial player or call. Again, you guys have probably seen it a lot better than I have, at this point. And then I thought our defense played pretty well. I thought they were in some tough situations, with the turnovers. Without the turnovers, I think it's a completely different story. We were able to get some sacks late. We weren't able to get a whole lot of pressure early, but we were able to get some sacks late. And then if you look at the total yardage and things like that, I think overall we played. Again, guys, it's to me it's turnovers and penalties, which I would hope that you guys would agree that over the last 6 years that's very uncharacteristic for us. So we got to get those things fixed.
Greg Pickle?
Good evening, Coach. Yeah, certainly over the last 6 years, that hasn't been something you guys have committed much, either turnovers or penalties. Was there anything specific you saw that led to those tonight?
Well, no, other than the fact that we lost a couple running backs. So guys, playing for a first time, that factored into it a little bit, and then some decision making. But no, our practice shell hasn't changed. We work those things every single day, not some days, every single day, and we got to get better at it.
Neil Rudell?
James, did you think Indiana was letting you score? Was that talked about down at the goal line? And also, if you could please assess your special teams.
Yeah, I think Indiana did let us score. That's their chart was telling them to score, and our chart was telling us not to score. Yeah, I think that definitely is what happened there. And then What was the last thing you said? I'm sorry.
Special teams.
Yeah.
If they were-
Yeah, we didn't play as well as we typically have played on special teams, on offense or on defense, and really in all three areas. But yeah, we had some things on special teams that, again, we didn't kick the ball necessarily well on PATs and field goals. We didn't kick necessarily very well, on kickoff, and then we just weren't as clean as we need to be. Returning kicks as well, kickoffs and punts.
Last question will go to Tyler Donahue.
James, I know you have a lot to dive into with this game, but can you kind of discuss where Kirk Shiraka in game one, his dynamic with the quarterback and just the general game flow? I know you dealt with the absence of Noah Cain there, but how would you kind of assess how that went over these first 4 quarters plus?
Well, obviously when you don't win the game, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. You didn't win the game, so we didn't play well enough, and that's in all 3 phases. But obviously we'll go back and we'll watch his tape. I know you guys hate to hear that answer, but it's just hard for me to take a deep dive into everything, right after the game without watching the tape and all those types of things. But at the end of the day, we didn't play well enough to win. And that's in all 3 phases.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Thanks.